It's Jeff, and I'm back with some spray troubleshooting tips. Today's question comes from Josh. I hope he doesn't mind me using his name. Anyways, he says, I purchased an AM-6008 sprayer several months ago, sprayed my entire kitchen with it, and it came out looking great. Yesterday, I was spraying primer on a vanity, and the primer just started to run out of the tip. It sort of dribbled out after I finished spraying. I couldn't really get it to stop. I wanted to touch base with you and see if you had any suggestions or thoughts. That's a common issue with pressurized spray guns, and let me show you what I mean by that. In a pressurized spray gun, when you take the air off, or when you remove the air from the gun, the cup is still pressurized. And what that means is that any finish that's in the gun is going to be still forced up against two parts or two areas of the gun. The two areas where it's going to get forced out of is the front, which is where it comes out under normal spraying conditions. It also comes out the back here. The packing nut prevents that from happening. If you see paint dribbling from the packing nut, all that means is that you just have to tighten this nut just a little bit. You want to tighten it about a quarter turn at a time, and you can use a small wrench to do that. Take a 10mm wrench and turn that packing nut just a little bit at a time, maybe about 1/8 of an inch. What that will do is put compression on the packing nut here and close off that seal a little bit better. In Josh's case, it's coming out the front here. And more than likely, it's a cleaning issue. First thing to do is to remove the needle by unscrewing the knob at the back of the gun. Using needle nose pliers, pull the needle out backwards. Then using a socket wrench. I suggest using a socket wrench the first time on these because the nozzles are really tight from the factory. I believe it's a 19mm, but we just use a 3/4 inch here and it works fine. With a socket wrench, you'll be able to get a lot better leverage. Remove the nozzle and take that nozzle, drop it in some lacquer thinner, and then you can also put the front of the needle in there too. Let that sit about 15-20 minutes. Take your needle out, clean it off, and make sure that there's no dried finish right around the tip. Take the fluid nozzle out, and using the smallest brush in this mini brush set that is in a cleaning kit, run it through the front, just like that, a couple times. Take the larger bristle brush, clean out the inside, and just make sure that the inside of that is clean and you don't see any finish. You might have to shine a small flashlight in there. To put this back together, put the fluid nozzle on first. Tighten it. Take some gun lube and just wipe a thin film of gun lube on the shaft of the needle. That'll help it to slide back in better. And then put your cap back on. And your dribbling should be gone. If after going through all those cleaning steps that I showed you earlier, you still get dribbling or dripping at the front of the nozzle, there's one more thing to check. Let me show you. Holding the gun in your hand, look at the needle right in front of the trigger. Pull the trigger back a few times and make sure that the needle is fully retracting and then going back forward. If it isn't, that means that needle right there is sticking. And what you have to do is take some gun lube and just using the little pinpoint oiler of it, try to work some gun lube in there and see if that loosens it up. If it doesn't, you will have to take your 10mm wrench or appropriate wrench for your gun and loosen that packing nut just a little bit at a time until the needle slides freely. That should eliminate that problem.